We're going to ask Representative Denise Marcel to do the invocation for us.
Will you bow your heads with me? Oh, gracious Father, we thank you, God, for this day, a day that we've not seen before. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Now, God, as we go about the business of the East Baton Rouge Parish Council on Aging, we ask that you would lead and direct us. God, let us do what's in the best interest of this agency and for the city and for the citizens, and particularly for the seniors of this parish. Now, God, I ask that you would bless the food when we get it for the nourishment of our bodies. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you. Let us stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have roll call.
Attorney General from Mosat.
Absent.
Ms. Jerry Booker.
Here.
Derek Cole, present. Patricia Williams.
Here.
Councilwoman Jonna Banks. Attorney Steve Schilling.
He's en route.
Representative C. Denise Marcel.
Present.
Ms. Jessica Griffin.
Still out.
Reverend Leo Cyrus.
Present.
Father Andrews.
There he is. He just walked in. Father Andrews.
Professor Dorothy Jackson.
Here.
Ms. Pamela Ann Mitchell.
Here.
Jamie Robertson.
Here.
Chief Carl Dunn.
Here.
Ms. Dorothy Thibodeau. We have a quorum.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may, Madam Vice Chair, the chairwoman sends her condolences. She's not feeling well. She's out ill today.
Okay.
And Ms. Griffin is still rehabbing her injuries.
Okay.
So let's continue to keep them in our prayer.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments? Call for public comments.
That's it. Seeing no public.
That's it.
Seeing no public comment.
Seeing no public comments, we're going to move on to action items. We're looking at the minutes from the last meeting, certification of the minutes from the Board of Directors.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. Derek Cole, second by Representative Marcel, that we accept the minutes from the last meeting. All those in favor? Those opposed? No opposition. The minutes stand adopted. Okay. We're going to move into our finance report with Ms. Eva Pratt. On the left side of your packet, first item is budget versus actual for the second quarter ending December 31st, 2018. And on this particular report, we will need a board resolution done immediately following discussion of it. Our gross revenues for the first 2 quarters of the year total $5,462,689.15, and our total expenses for the same time period total $5 million. One second, we got 2 of them. $5,280,334 for the.
Gotcha.
You got it? Okay. For the quarter, like I said, this is for the second quarter ending December 31st. This is one of the reports we're required to submit to the Governor's Office of Elderly Affairs. If there are any questions or whatever, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to entertain them at this time. If not, then there's a resolution for the board to pass accepting this report, giving us authorization to submit it to the state.
board resolution to adopt this instrument, acceptance of budget versus actual report on the 14th day of February 2019 at a meeting of the Board of Directors of the East Baton Rouge Parish Council on Aging Incorporated, a corporation held in the city of Baton Rouge, state of Louisiana, with a quorum of the directors present. The following business was conducted. It was duly moved and seconded that the following resolution be adopted. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the above-named corporation does hereby acknowledge and accept the second quarter budget versus actual report containing actual expenditures totaling $5,280,335 and actual revenues totaling $5,462,689 as of 12/31/2018. The above resolution was passed by a majority of those present, and in voting in accordance with the bylaws and the articles of incorporation, I certify that the above and foregoing constitute a true and correct copy as a part of the minutes of a meeting of the Board of Directors held on the 14th day of February 2019.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the second quarter budget versus actual.
I second the motion.
Okay, it was moved by Attorney Dorothy Jackson, second by
Chief Dunn?
Chief Dunn. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Resolution is passed. Thank you. Excuse me. The other items on that same side of the packet is just for information. I have the balance sheet, and this is as of January 31st, which is our most recent financial report. And of course, we know that the balance sheet is just a report of your company's assets, liability, or any equity that we might have. The next report is the profit and loss by class. This is a total of our, and what the profit and loss report shows is the total income or revenue that, and the total expenses that are spent for the company for a specified period of time. And this is from July 1st through January 31st. And the last one I'm sharing with you is our trial balance, and all that is a statement of all the debts and credits in a company, especially if you use double entry bookkeeping, which is what you normally do. If there's a debit, there has to be a matching credit. So that's what we do. It's just a list of every expense that we have and the amount that we've spent on that for the year to date. Okay, there are several other items I have in here that I wanted to share with you guys. We have two statements from Raymond James. Raymond James is the company that we use to invest our reserve. We had a $900,000 reserve and not a $7 million reserve. And that was deposited in October. This is a statement ending December 31st. And as you can see from that particular statement, the total balance, ending balance was $900,000. And we had a little interest of $397.47. So we had a $900,000 reserve at the end of December and not a $7 million reserve.
Can you clear up the $7 million reserve?
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you. Can you give us a little bit more info on that?
Yes. On January 24th, we received a deposit from the city of Baton Rouge for $7,346,000. $46,000, excuse me. Now, my only guess is they're saying we had a reserve back in December, said this is the money they had collected for the Council on Aging, but we did not receive it yet. We had no idea how much they had for us. So whoever gave the newspaper, whoever writing the newspaper, the amount of we didn't know that figure. And it's not a reserve. It's money they collected for the 2018 taxes that we're using to operate on in 2019. So we don't have a $7 million reserve. We never have had a $7 million reserve.
So they collect the money
They collected
a
the year
in
before.
advance
Mhm.
and then give it to us January
year.
the following year because they operate on a calendar year.
Right.
So they collect it and hold it. They meaning the tax
city.
assessor and the city. The city holds it for that year and earns the interest off of it and then sends us the collection amount to us. And what happens is anything that was collected later in the year, then they'll send us that every month. Do we get something almost every month?
Every month we'll get whatever they collect for that period, okay?
So Ms. Pratt, in essence, you're just making a correction on what the erroneous
newspaper.
information that was given to the newspaper and giving us the actual amount that's in this account. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Yes.
What are employee donations from the balance sheet that you gave?
Okay, every employee, because we cannot use governmental tax funds to do our parties and birthdays, or if somebody gets sick and we want to send them a flower, or somebody passed and we want to send a family member a plant or something, we can't use tax money for that, and all of our money is restricted. So the employees elect to have a certain amount of money taken from their paychecks every pay period, and we put it in this particular account to do that with.
So
It's staff money. It does not belong to, yes, and that's what that line item is. Any other questions? Oh, yeah, you did. You can.
Okay.
If not, that completes my report, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Pratt. We're going to move on to Personnel Committee report.
Do we need to accept it?
I think we accepted it.
Oh, we
accepted it?
yeah. Okay. I think you had to make a motion.
Another one?
Yeah, they accepted it.
Okay. I need a motion for...
I move that we accept the financial reports given by Ms. Eva Pratt.
Okay, it's been moved by Representative Denise Marcel and second by Attorney Dorothy Jackson that we accept the report given by Mrs. Pratt, the financial report. Are there are no questions? All those in favor? Those opposed? The ayes have it. The report stands accepted. We're going to move to the Personnel Committee report, in that I'm the chairman of that report and I'm chairing today. I've asked Representative Marcel to give that report for me.
Thank you very much. Members, on February 1st, 2019, a meeting was held by the Personnel Committee, and it was called to order by Ms. Jerry Booker, who is the chair, as she has stated. There was a roll call done, invocation and pledge of allegiance. There were no public comments, and the minutes were certified and approved. There was a discussion of the executive officer's salary, which was then motioned. After the discussion, a motion was made and approved to increase the CEO's salary to $126,000, and that motion carried. Under the old business, there was none. Under the new business, there was discussion of adjusting salary ranges for site coordinators, and that discussion has been tabled. The meeting was adjourned. And I'd ask that we would accept the recommendation of the Personnel Committee to be accepted by the full board.
Chairwoman, I want to put it on the record that the effective date is for January 1.
I'm sorry, I didn't read that. Yeah, her salary is to be effective. And I think we had this discussion in our last open board meeting when we were talking about
We did.
once we but I don't see it in the minutes. Once we figured out what the CEO's salary would be, that we would make it retroactive to January 1, because at that time we did not approve it. So that's my motion, that we accept the recommendation of the committee. It's been,
Okay, it's been
I
moved.
took over the chair, now I'm sorry.
It's been moved by...
That was a motion.
It was a
I made the motion and he seconded, Pastor Cyrus.
It's been moved by
Wait, 1 second. She got to do the, go ahead.
it's been moved by Representative Marcel and second by Pastor Cyrus that the board, the recommendations of the Personnel Committee be accepted. Are there any objections?
We don't need a roll call.
No requirement. If you want somebody moves to have one,
It's not
then you should.
Okay.
If they make, you have to make a motion.
She said.
If somebody has made a
objection.
motion to have a roll call vote at that point in time, then you do. But if there is no motion, there's no need to have a
It's got to be
roll call.
moved and seconded.
It was moved and
It
seconded.
was moved and
It's
seconded.
moved, and it's already been moved, it's already been seconded.
No, it hadn't been seconded.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was seconded by Pastor Cyrus.
Oh, Pastor Stein. No, he's talking about, Dr. Cole wants to make a motion to do a roll call vote.
Okay.
But that needs to be moved and seconded.
Yes.
Dr. Cole has made a motion to do a roll call vote. Is there a second? Hearing none.
Go with the first motion. Any objections?
Then the first motion stands.
Any objections to the first motion?
There's been no, you got
There's
to
been
call
no
the vote.
objection.
You got to call the vote. Any objections to the first motion?
No.
You got to call the vote for the first motion.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have to say,
Okay.
any objections? You got my motion.
Okay, for the first motion, are there any objections?
Seeing no objections, approved.
Hearing none, then the motion is approved. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move to the board chairman's report, and we're going to start with our attorney. Murphy, or you going to do it?
Murphy's going to do it.
Murphy.
In the chairwoman's absence, Attorney Murphy Foster will make the presentation for the board chairwoman.
I only have one thing to report. You recall at the last board meeting, it was raised, we advised you that insurance had paid for a portion of Tasha's defense in the Antoine case. Ms. Jackson asked that we consider reimbursing her for hers as she served as a director at that time and was also named in that suit and had to defend. We've requested information from her attorneys regarding those fees. We've gotten some. We've requested, as recently as today, some additional information. But as soon as we finish going through that, we intend to make a request to the insurance, against the insurance policy, and then report back to you as to where we are.
Okay, can I say something? I think most of us were here when we had this discussion concerning the legal fees and our obligation to, well, it's a rule that we can reimburse when situations such as this has arisen. And one of the things that I pointed out then, and I'll point out again, any one of us as members of this board could be subjected to a lawsuit, and we will want that once our name's cleared, we will want the insurance carrier to certainly reimburse any legal fees that we might incur. And so I would make a motion at this time that we will move this discussion of the reimbursement, that we would approve looking at the reimbursement of the legal fees.
Excuse me, just as a point of order and explanation. We don't have a motion on the table, and I'm not going to offer a particular number to put out there to do that.
Correct.
We have to finish the
discussion.
Ms. Jackson was involved in 4 different issues.
Okay.
In Tasha's case, it was just one that we were seeking reimbursement on. And Ms. Jackson's fees that I got from her counsel are kind of all blended in, and so we've got a request, Joel, to break those out to make sure that we're reimbursing you for that which we're allowed to by law and by the board bylaws in her, and that's it.
Right, so at this point, what you're saying is we don't have the dollar amount, but we do need a motion to do the discussion and to continue with the legal fees, or are you just giving us
No,
this
is
for
just
informational only?
This is information only.
Okay, I
No
withdraw my motion. I withdraw my motion.
I have a question. So the 4 things that's within there, were those because of the incident that happened?
There's a lawsuit by Ms. Antoine. Ms. Jackson, you could probably explain this better than me. There's a lawsuit by Ms. Antoine that she defended, that she was represented. We prevailed in that. Tasha, the board, Ms. Jackson prevailed in that at the district court level. That's on appeal. There was a separate lawsuit that Ms. Jackson filed against Southern because of her termination. I don't know the specifics of that. There was another lawsuit, and I'm not sure what the circumstances, it might have been the first lawsuit that came up involving you and Tasha, and
Got dismissed.
So in other,
and then there was an ethics issue, and she can be reimbursed for her fees on the ethics issues as well. We've just had, there's some things, for instance, we can't reimburse Ms. Jackson for any fees expended in the prosecution of her lawsuit against them. We can't reimburse her for any fees that have already been paid by the state of Louisiana or so. We're just trying to narrow it down so we can come back with a specific number and a specific item.
so in fact, this discussion is First of all, for information purpose only, because we had discussed it early on in our board meeting. But secondly, if I understand you correctly, you're gonna decide what that number is and what we legally can pay for, and you're gonna bring that back to us at that time.
Correct.
Because we don't really want to open up discussing all of her legal cases in here because they're not applicable to us.
Some of them we don't have any business talking about.
Correct. Correct.
You got something?
Okay, is that it?
Good.
I just
Mr. Jackson?
wanted- And the reason I just wanted to make sure that we were doing our due diligence to Board Member Jackson.
Yes, sir, that's what we're doing right now.
So that I think the insurance company wants some information because we all have a policy that covers you all, and so when Murphy gets them the specifics, they wanted to drill down a little bit more. That they'll come back to Murphy with the figure. It's my understanding.
You got Miss.
You got something?
I have something.
Yeah, okay.
I
Talking about you.
I think that to answer your question, everything that is currently pending arises out of the same set of facts. Okay? And I don't know what the insurance company is doing. It's their decision to make as to whether they think that I should be reimbursed or not. But everything arises out of that particular set of facts. And none of it. Including the action from itself. Because it began with an investigation.
Because it wouldn't have took
Right.
place if these things happened.
Correct.
Just we get back to the policies.
But it's not so much the policy, that's part of it. It's also what we're allowed to do under our bylaws and under the state statute that allows you to reimburse a board member in certain circumstances.
And that's why we pay Murphy Foster to be our attorney, so he can look through those things and tell us, legally advise us.
And you can have a copy of the policy. It's about 1,000 pages. And after page 1 that says hello, you won't understand. If you're not a lawyer, you won't understand the rest of it. But you can we'll most definitely get you a copy of the policy.
Okay. That answers your question, Jane?
Can we move
Okay.
No motion, it's just information.
Yes.
Right. I withdrew my motion. Thank you, Dr. Cole.
Okay, thank you for the information. There are no more questions? Okay, then we're gonna move on.
Okay. I'm sorry. You ready for me?
Yes.
So my CEO report, I have our master service agreement, our architect here that's working on many of our projects, and he is going to come on my behalf and give you some updates on all of our construction projects that's going on, Ms. Didier, if you will. We'll start with you gotta come around here. We'll start with the Fuqua property, the property we recently purchased.
Okay, good afternoon, Daryl Didier Architecture. Fuqua property, which... Fuqua, I'm sorry, I knew you were going to do that too. I knew I said it wrong. I knew I said it wrong. Do that. All right, so...
Fuqua,
The
potato.
Council on Aging Admin Building, that's what I'm changing. That's how we know it.
That's how we know it.
So, we had a pre-design meeting with Tasha, Dr. James, consultants of ours, other folks. So the project has started. We are taking some field measurements tomorrow, so we'll spend most of the day tomorrow just talking to folks and interviewing them, establishing a baseline of needs and wants and dimensional data. So we've developed a schedule for that project, and so we're currently rocking and rolling. But the entire design team is put together and moving forward.
Any questions on Fuqua? All right, then next we'll talk about Dumas House.
Okay, construction documents are complete. We, I think, are advertising
Today.
today. We're getting an advertisement pulled together to send to the paper today. To I think the first advertisement date is going to be Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yes.
We'll advertise for 30 days. We've got a pre-bid meeting scheduled for March 7th, and the bid date is March 19th. So we're moving that forward as well.
And when will we be finished?
Well, we're also submitting for permit at the same time that we're sending the advertisement, and that could take 30 days, it could take 45 days, it could take 60 days. I really don't know. So we're in hopes that it's going to be weeks and not months that the city takes to review the project. So
Try months. You said city.
yeah, I know.
Try
And so
months.
that's what I'm hoping doesn't happen. I think we've got 4 or 5 months of construction time in the documents, but it really all kind of revolves around when we can get this permit. So we're hopeful, but there's some realistic things we've got to deal with as well, dealing with the city.
Okay. And then Homewood.
Homewood, we've kind of been waiting on Energy to tell us what is going on with the adjacent property. They feel like they've donated it to you guys years ago, but there's no documentation for that. I know Dr. James has been working pretty diligently with those guys, but they haven't really given you a whole lot of info to go on. So I think we're going to go, one more round with them? And if we can't get a determination, then we're just going to move forward with what we were going to do to start with, which was to add on to the building in a way that expands the restrooms and takes care of some of the ADA deficiencies, possibly expand the multipurpose room and front entry. Unfortunately, there's not a heck of a lot we can do about the parking if we don't have the property adjacent to us. So I know that's a bit of a concern, but we're kind of landlocked there.
Okay. That's our 3 major construction projects that DDA is working on. You all have any questions for him?
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we'll talk about Antioch Senior Center. It's done. It's complete. We got our permit and our fire marshal inspection approval. Only thing that we're waiting on now is a covenant between the owner and us, saying that we won't put more than 299 people in the building. And so once the owners, they're in another state, once they sign it, send it back to us, we'll have to file it at the clerk of court, and then we're done with the Antioch property. 1701 Main Street.
And it's a beautiful facility.
It's really nice. They
Really,
love
really
it.
nice.
We have about a couple hundred seniors there every day. Yeah, and they are really, it's full. 1701 Main Street.
We have less than 299 every day.
We have less than 299
Every day.
every day, at one time. So 1701 Main, we have met with the city and Coleman Partners. The package is ready to go to bid, and we have a proposed final date. Once the council votes on it, they said they'll be done. The building will be finished and renovated and ready to move in December 2019. So that's our date. So here shortly, once they put the bid package on the council's agenda, then we can go ahead and schedule our groundbreaking. So Trudy will keep you abreast if that happens before our next board meeting, when we're going to do some kind of groundbreaking activity. The mayor is really excited to see this project get to moving. So we look forward to moving into the brand new supersized senior center, is what I'm calling it, December 2019. That's all of my report on capital outlays, Madam Vice Chair. Second, we had the Government Accountability Office came in from Congress. They were commissioned by Congress to come and look at 4 area agencies on aging across the country. They came to Louisiana. They went to Virginia, Arizona, and Michigan. So they spent 2 full days with us. They looked at all of our activities. They were really interested in the meals and our senior centers and the type of activities that we're doing. So they're going to go back and do a report on how other AAAs and councils on agents across the country can model some of our stuff. So we were excited to have them here and host them. And every senior center was ready. They treated them like they were the president. So we had a great time with them. Right? Not the president. All right. And then last but not least, several of our staff members, myself included, will be going to the conferences that you see listed. The American Society on Aging Conference in New Orleans. I am co-chairing that conference.
Yay.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, it's 5 of us that are co-chairing from across the country, myself, Howard Rogers in New Orleans, and then people from other areas. And then I also, during that conference, I will be in a Harvard Institute leadership training on gerontology for the 5 days. Chantel and I will come out with their leadership certification on gerontology and aging. So my other staff will be in the conference, but we'll be secluded in the basement, I guess, taking it in school. But I'm looking forward to it. It's something new to learn. Also, the National Conference on Aging is in Washington, D.C. A couple of staff members will be going to that. The the N4A, which is the National Area Agency on Aging Association. I am also a committee chair of this conference and newly nominated and elected to be a board member for this group. Yes. And so, of course, we have to go all over the country for board meetings. So our agency will be traveling a lot this year. I think folks across the country are kind of realizing some of the stuff we're doing, the great work that we're doing. So we're excited to engage and learn from other agent entities and stuff that we can bring back to our state.
And certainly to show them what we're doing here that's successful. Okay. Yes. I know you don't want to say that, but I will.
A couple other things. We had advisory board meeting yesterday. It went well. They focused on our activities, particularly the prom. They don't want all those prom queens and kings. They just want one, and they want to do a citywide vote. So we got to figure out how we're going to do that. They want tickets, and they don't want anybody under the age of 60 coming. They don't care if you're married to them or not. If you are married to them, you got to bring the driver's license. This was the prom is going to be a big deal this year. They are looking forward to that, and so they wanted me to pass that report on to you all.
You can't go either then.
I can't go either. And I got to pass. You board members and me, we got to pass. But anybody else, you can't go unless you bring your driver's license. Dr. Gilmore is going to send you all out a link on Monday. You all have to take if you haven't had your ethics class, you have to get on your computer. It shouldn't take longer than an hour. Get on your computer, take your ethics class, because you have to have your ethics class for the first of the year, okay?
When do we send the certificate to?
When you get your certificate, you can email it to Dr. Gilmore, or he can pull it from there. Okay. Yes, ma'am?
Is that an annual thing?
Every year.
Because
you got to do it every year. You did it. That was for last year. Now you got to do it. It's a new year, 2019.
Okay.
Okay, and that's it. That's my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Again, congratulations to Tasha, Council on Aging Board.
I do have a question, but I also have food in my mouth.
Okay. We're glad to see you back and feeling better. So glad to have you back. Yes, sir.
I know that the House on Aging is doing a lot with Care South.
Yes.
Can you say a little bit about that?
So we have a MOU with Care South to do geriatric healthcare facility, and what they are waiting on is on us to identify property between the Fuquay building in 1701 Main that they could come in and build if we're going to put up a senior. We want to do some senior housing, a senior housing village, and they want to be in the village as the healthcare provider. They want to do medical, dental, and also vision, rec therapy with a recreation facility for rec therapy for any issues you may have that you have to rehab, and also an on-site denture clinic where they make dentures on site. And so we are in talks with the property owner around where we bought the Fuquay building to buy this other property so we can put this village into commerce. We've been speaking to developers. There is a NOFA that will be coming out to build senior housing. And so, and all of this is in the new opportunity zone, right? And so we're supposed to be working together to do some stuff for the seniors.
I just wanted to make sure that we knew that, because I see this as part of a holistic
It is.
movement.
Right.
And the care that we're giving.
Right.
And I think that whole medical as well as social and geriatric health
Yes, sir.
care is so important.
Right. And housing, because there's truly a housing deficit of affordable, decent housing for seniors in this city. And so it is high priority for us as soon as we can acquire the land, because those who own the land make the rules, right? So we're trying to make sure we own the land and then talk to some developers and design our village. So that is on our table for this year. We also have been meeting with Gulf Coast Housing. And they do a lot of the LMI developments. And so we're trying to put this whole collaborative partnership together. Thank you for bringing that up.
And one final, I know it's not on the agenda, but the 38th Street Fire Station, where are we with that, Dr. Gilmore?
Dr. Gilmore, come to the
We
mic.
actually received written confirmation. We received a verbal confirmation that we could purchase the fire station on Gus Young, and we finally received written documents last week. And so now we're meeting all the Murphy's Law Firm is putting together our closing documents.
Yep.
For those of you all don't know, the property appraised for $75,000. We said, wow, that's a lot. We offered $10,000. They accepted our $10,000 offer. And so now we say, wow, we got $65,000
In equity. Yes,
But
indeed.
not for real, for real. That's something, Dr. Gilmore?
At one point, I was offered that building for $1.
Really? Wow.
From the then councilwoman.
Pardon? What was that?
You heard me.
Again, the only restriction we have is how we're able to acquire it. And just in case you don't know why so many of those fire stations that are abandoned still exist, is because when the city gives you something or donates something, or you purchase something from them, you have a timeline to redevelop it, or they can recapture it back.
Right.
So we have 18 months to put it back into some type of commerce, or they can capture it back. Okay. So that's what happens. That's why a lot of these nonprofits or churches that receive these fire stations, they don't do anything with them, and the city has to recapture them. So thankfully, we have dollars that we can actually put it back in commerce. We're not just going to hold on to it and just pray and hope we can fix it up. We actually have a plan to get it back into commerce.
So once we get that back from Attorney Foster, we're going to be fast tracking this particular project because it shouldn't take long for us to get that up and running. And I think it's a great project. Again, he's absolutely correct. It's a lot of renovation for a nonprofit other than, somebody like the Council on Aging. That's why I suggested they should have that building.
Okay, any other questions?
Just one other thought.
Yes, sir.
As you develop the senior village, I know you and I have talked a little bit about it, but
Yes.
down the line, I think one fantastic possibility would be, to have a building where grandparents could raise grandchildren.
Yes, sir.
Because that's a crying need throughout our nation right now. There's very few places,
Right.
any place in our country, where seniors can actually live in senior housing with their grandchildren
Yes.
for a whole host of reasons.
Right. So we can most definitely add that to the conversation. And it's our intention, once we get closer to deciding on a developer and purchasing the land, we will take some board members to see some of the actual senior villages around the country so we can get a good idea of what we want to do. Because what we want to do is something different that is not here. There's senior villages across the country, but there's none in the state of Louisiana. So we'll be the first one. That's our intention. Okay.
Okay. Any other business? Any other business? If there's no other business, can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Okay. It's been moved by Jamie Robinson and second by
Father Andrews.
Father Andrews. Meeting is adjourned.